Welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us, JazzTime.com. Today, we'll be going over a Royal Oak from Audemars Piguet, a self-winding chronograph, reference number 26331ST.OO.1220ST.01. Quite a mouthful, I know, but we'll be getting into the whole unboxing first, then I'll be giving you the review as well. Alright, so here we go, opening up the box here. It has that typical wood grain pattern type of box there. And underneath, we also have the warranty card. All right, as you can see, comes with that with the near field activation. All right, so quite useful there. We're going to keep that in the box because what matters here is the watch itself, and for most of us, that's usually what comes first. All right, so here's the watch. It has a blue dial, entirely made of steel, brushed and polished. All right, with the steel bracelet. All right, so as is part of the unboxing, we'll be removing the plastic outer case here gently, as well as I believe there's no backing on this one. Some general stickers here that actually help conceal and protect that brush finishing along with that high polish in between. More on that in a moment. Alright. And I believe that is about it for that. Okay, so this is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph 41mm. Actually, let me put this away because I do need a little bit of space here. Don't want to overcrowd myself. Okay, so I'll keep this off to one side, and there we go. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph with a blue dial, grand tapisserie sort of textured patterning on the dial, entirely made in steel, brushed satin as well as high polish with the bracelet. All right, so again, this case size is 41mm from finger to thumb. This is not including the chronograph pusher. All right, and it's about it is exactly 11mm thick, so quite thin for a chronograph, a sports model, and it's also, I measured 51mm lug to lug in height, so it wears a bit bigger than it really is, but we'll be getting into the wearing experience a little bit later. All right, so altogether, this is, we'll be talking about the case, the dial, the crown, the movement, as well as the bracelet, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on those. All right, so when it comes to the case, again, satin brush finishing all along the face of the watch, as well as, well, underneath, but in a concentric circle sort of patterning with a sort of like a sandblasted texture for that Royal Oak sort of logo right there, right in the center of the case back. All right, screw down case back with those round screws on the back and 8 hexagonal screws on the front bezel. Also satin brush finishing, also with that sort of vertical look, keeping integrated with that overall satin brush finishing on the case as well. On the outsides, sort of outlining both the bezel and the case itself, you have along the edges this really nice high polish that goes all the way around the bezel, as well as along the sort of the vertices, the flanks of the case, right, with high polish chronograph pushers with satin brush finishing on their sort of little guards or holders. All right, taking a look at the dial now, we also have that dark blue grand tapisserie patterning with a guilloche shape patterning that allows for sort of that sun ray type of pattern lighting to show up. So it's a little bit more difficult to see with those chronograph dials in there with the small seconds, but you know, it's there and it's certainly a sight to behold, right? And when it comes to looking at the overall presentation here, it looks potentially a little crowded. That's because the two chronograph dials, the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock, the 30-minute and 12-hour respectively, take up quite a bit of real estate on this dial, but they make sure that you can actually read them, right? And readability is all what it's about. There's also the hour markings, also applied 18 karat white gold with luminescence applied onto them. Those allow for additional readability in the dark. If I turn out the lights, you can actually see how luminescence works. It also lights up the minute and the hour hand very nicely. You can read all of the hours very easily there, okay? Meanwhile, my camera is struggling to focus, okay? It is rather dark in here, but you know, you can still read it quite easily. All right, I'll turn the lights back on so my camera's not struggling so hard. Okay, and note that the index markers are actually a little bit shorter than you'd find on a typical Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. That's because you need to have the sort of consistency of those hour marks going all the way around. You don't want to cut off too much as they have done with the 3 and the 9. So in order to keep, you know, a relatively good framing of the hour marks along their track, you've got to extend them just a tiny bit more than, say, like the 6 o'clock, which is a bit longer than that of the 3 and the 9. And if you'll notice, the small seconds at the 6 o'clock actually does have a smaller dial. So you have sort of like this bilateral symmetry when it comes to, you know, the horizontal weight, but when it comes to the vertical, it feels a little bit wonky because of that slightly smaller small seconds dial. All right, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit hard to notice, but as long as you don't notice it, as long as you don't think about it, I think we'll be good. Okay, and when it comes to the overall presentation here, I do appreciate the silvery look to these dials against the dark blue backdrop. It makes it very easy to read and very distinctive as well. When you see this, you know it's a chronograph, 100%. There's no mistake about it, all right? No watch out there has this many subdials for absolutely no reason. Maybe a moon phase, but you know, you'd see the moon in them. But in these, you see numbers, you know that they mean business and precision. And precision is what this one's all about, at least when it comes to tracking time with the chronograph. And when it comes to the functions, we'll also note that the crown works as you would expect. You unwind to the first position to allow you to wind the watch. Only about 25 to 30 full winds is all you need to get it to the full power reserve. More on that in a second. You can pull out to the second position here. Okay, pull out to the second position. You can rotate it clockwise, and it's about a half turn to advance the date at the 4:30, or it's more like a 4:45 position. The date aperture, also with a dark blue background, so it integrates very nicely into that dial, and it almost sort of falls to the wayside or sort of into the background. It's not too terribly noticeable, so it doesn't really throw off the symmetry, the symmetrical feel to the watch, but it still is there for, you know, the practical purpose of keeping track of the date. Very useful. But do keep in mind that if you find yourself at the end of the month and you need to advance it, you will have to, you know, throw that crown pretty far in order to advance the date by 1. All right, it takes about a half a turn again to advance it. All right, pull it out to the final position, and you'll note that the small seconds is actually still going. There's no hacking seconds here, right? But you can still move the minute hand for precise or slightly more precise timekeeping, all right? And let's actually move that up to 10:10 because that looks pleasing, doesn't it? Okay, press the crown all the way back in to ensure 50 meters of water resistance. Now keep in mind that this is a bit more of a sports watch, but I would still keep it on the dressier side, and certainly with that 50 meters water resistance, I wouldn't really take this more than, you know, surface swimmable at most. Don't go diving with this at all, you know, if you want to keep the integrity of this case intact, right? And when it comes to the casing, what's inside, what allows you to have all of this function, it's the self-winding caliber 2385, made in-house by Audemars Piguet. It has a 26.2 millimeter diameter or 11.5 lines. You can't see through the case back, unfortunately. It has a frequency of 3 Hertz or 21,600 vibrations per hour. That's not quite as high precision as, say, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, also with a blue dial, the newer version, but it's still extremely accurate. And when it comes to using the chronograph, you know, I can't really find anything to complain about. It's a very solid start, very rigid finish. You can reset it back to 0, no problem. No issues there. All right, so the frequency of 3 Hertz doesn't really affect it all that much in my eyes. The oscillator is a monoblock and 18 karat gold unidirectional. So putting it on your wrist will wind it about half as much as a bidirectional winder, but it will still get the job done. It has 37 joules with a total number of 304 parts, a mobile stud with an annular balance spring. All right, so it basically will, you know, make sure to effectively reduce the impacts of shock resistance, or reduce the impacts of shock, giving you shock resistance. But, you know, I wouldn't take this mountain biking. I wouldn't, you know, use a jackhammer on it. Certainly do not use a jackhammer on this watch. It's magnificent. And yeah, so all the functions allow for the chronograph, hours, minutes, small seconds, and the date, the rapid setting of that date as well. So very useful movement in there, all right, as I have just demonstrated. All right, and when it comes to the bracelet, it's also a stainless steel bracelet, also satin brush finishing along the front as well as the side there. So you have that nice diffused lighting with a high polish along the edges there, sort of continuing from the case directly onto the corners of the bracelet there, and in between links and on those in between portions of the intermediate links as well. All right, so when you put this on, you get sort of that glowy feeling that they're almost modular in appearance, but when it comes together, truly integrated. All right, kind of gestalt in that form where, you know, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Okay, and when you have that slight taper down to the bracelet, or rather the clasp, it's a double deployment clasp, which allows you to open it by using these 2 push buttons. All right, so you press it and it pops open very nicely. You have the Audemars Piguet logo right there underneath. All right, and while we're here, I can actually try it on, give you some more of my thoughts as to how it feels on the wrist, how it wears, the overall experience. Okay, and on the wrist, I will need to have this sized smaller for me because, you know, and when it comes to sizing these sorts of bracelets, you will have to take out individual links until you reach the right size. So on my wrist, I do have, you know, about a couple links that I could still take out, but that's not an issue. I can just wear it a little bit higher, no problem. Okay, and when it comes to the overall presentation, again, I measured 51 millimeters in height, so I'm not getting that much framing with the bracelet when it comes to the case, but when it comes to that case, I still get everything I paid for. A lot of readability, a lot of usability, and, you know, all that function all in one. And I can see that the chronograph is working just fine. All right, if I get the angle just right, you can actually see that chronograph hand moving. All right, so I'm getting plenty of function, plenty of use out of this. When it comes to the casing, the lugs sort of flare out a little bit. That sort of attributes to that, you know, 51 millimeter height, but that's actually not a bad thing, because having those lugs sort of elevated off my wrist, actually personally, makes it really breathable. In addition to, you know, the bracelet in general also has all that nice spacing among all of those links, makes it very wearable, very breathable, and I can actually use this, you know, as sort of a sports application. I wouldn't really recommend that you do, but if the, you know, should the opportunity arise, or should it actually happen, you could wear this to a jog. You can jog with this. You may be able to do a couple laps in the pool, no problem. All right, without it effectively creating a sweat waterfall off of your wrist. Okay, and so when it comes to the overall weight, it's a bit on the chunky side, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily, you know, something that's sort of like their Royal Oak offshore line where it's very noticeable. You're throwing around this ball with this chain around your wrist. All right, the weight distribution closer to the case than it is to the center of the wrist, but that's because the counterweight of the bracelet is not quite as much as that of everything that's held in this case. This case is a chunker. Well, it's kind of a chunker. It's not obviously like, say, the brick, the all yellow gold Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore, but it's certainly, you know, pretty hefty for what you get. And at 41 millimeters, 51 millimeters in height, it's a lot of timepiece. It's a lot of watch to get. And that, you know, that dark blue dial, it's absolutely gorgeous. It really is quite a unique sort of piece, and indeed it really is, because these blue dials are boutique exclusives when it comes to Audemars Piguet. And why is that? It's because making blue dials is so extremely difficult in the, you know, the manufacturing phase, that they actually have the highest number of rejects, because they want to get their shades, their tints, and their tones all perfect for this, you know, elegant presentation of the blue with those subdials. So high rejection rate means you have fewer in quantity, which means you can only really sell these reliably at an Audemars Piguet boutique by appointment only. But over here at Jazz Time, we can get these very easily for you. We can source them, you know, quite easily. So, you know, if you'd like, we have bio links down below in the description. And, you know, I'd like to know your thoughts on this watch. How does it feel? How does it look overall in comparison to, say, any other watches you have? Or if you're considering this as your first watch, I would recommend it. It's very elegant. It has that sort of dressy look, but with the sporty sort of functions. You're prepared for anything with this watch, all right? And even though you don't have much of a minute or second track to speak of directly painted on that dial, it's a little bit recessed. It sort of falls to the very back of that visual hierarchy, but, you know, while you don't really have that much to speak of there, you do have those sub hands that, you know, my chronograph is still going, and you can see that the 30-minute dial is actually ticking up as the minutes pass, all right? So again, leave a comment down below what you think about this watch, and be sure to leave a like, as it really helps the channel out. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, visit our site at jazztime.com, links in the description below.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in Jazz Time, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.